Hello and welcome to yet another episode of NathanTeaV. Today I will be talking about um, This will be more of a kind of beginner's guide to teas, especially if you haven't drank a lot of different types of teas and you kind of want to know their characteristics, or if you're looking to begin, trying loose leaf teas. This will just kind of give you an idea of what to expect with each kind of tea you buy, and make some recommendations along the way for some good entry-level teas. So first off, I'm going to talk about. I have them on my bed. Let's see. Yeah. Today I'm going to be talking about for black tea. This is a more traditional black tea. It's Darjeeling. I got it from a local British store called the British Emporium, and they sell a lot of British things. Black tea. This, like a Darjeeling, an Assam, Ceylon, basically any. Those are the British teas. That's what you'll find in the UK during tea time. They come from India because of the British occupation of India. They imported those teas over. There are also different types of black teas that grow in China, like a Yunnan Gold. But this is what comes to mind when most people think of black tea. So I'm going to go ahead and give you a look at the leaves and try my best not to make a mess. Let's shine the light. And there you go. Let the camera adjust. Bring it back a bit. There you go. As you can see, they're kind of smaller leaves. Yeah, they're pretty small. They're really kind of thin, tightly rolled. They just kind of smell like the typical black tea that you would be used to. These kinds of teas, especially a Ceylon, or even a Darjeeling, they kind of have an orange undertone. Not a color, the taste. That really kind of mellows the tea out. When you make black tea, let's see, I really haven't thought about this beforehand. I'm just kind of shooting from the hip here. When you make black tea, you want to use boiling water, 212 degrees Fahrenheit, 100 Celsius. If you don't live in America, which is probable. Anyway, I don't know why I'm saying that, but and you steep it anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes, Western style. These are all going to be Western style. When I give you the specs for brewing. So 212, 3 to 5 minutes, depending on the strength. If it's your first time brewing loose leaf black tea, I would start at 3 minutes. Just pour out a little amount and just sip it and see what you think, and just keep doing that every 30 seconds or so until the strength is to your liking. Generally, you're going to want to do 1 teaspoon per 8 ounces of water, 6 to 8 ounces. If the teapot in my last video is about different tea methods. That I usually fill up about 2/3 of the way, and then I just do 2 teaspoons, and that's perfect. So that's black tea. It also comes in flavored varieties. Yeah, it's just any kind of fruity flavor, any flavor in general. It's very popular for flavored tea. So black tea's pretty good. If you're gonna get anything, I would try either a Darjeeling, maybe a Ceylon, even a flavored tea. Black tea is really versatile, and it's everywhere, especially here in the West. So it's a very good entry-level tea. Next on the list is, we're going polar opposite. We're going with white tea. This is white peony from Adagio, and it is, let's get you a look at the leaves here, and I'm spilling them. Okay, these leaves, let's give the camera time to adjust. They're kind of white, dusted white. They're longer, thicker. They kind of go together like that. Green. They kind of look like something's they're kind of lightly dusted with snow or something. And that's because they are not fermented at all, or not fermented. Yeah, they're not oxidized at all, if anything. White tea, they literally pick the leaves and they dry and put them in a bag. that's white tea. It's kind of, as far as flavor goes, it's really kind of hard to describe. It's very subtle more times than not. Sometimes they'll flavor it, but it's kind of pointless because it really overpowers the tea because it's so delicate to begin with. White tea, I wouldn't say, if it interests you, it's got a lot of health benefits. I wouldn't say it's the best beginner tea if you've never really had loose leaf tea before, mainly because it's got a kind of all the flavors are going to blend together. They've got very subtle differences between qualities. It's not the best beginner tea, but if you do get it, go ahead and brew it at around 160 degrees Fahrenheit, around 80 Celsius, Western style, 5 to 7 minutes. Just keep going every 30 seconds until it's to your the strength is to your liking. Next, I guess I'll talk about green tea. That sounds good. Green tea, we've got some Pilo Chun. It's a sample from Adagio. I reference it a lot because it's a pretty common tea, sort of like Sencha. Let's see. Oh, I'm making a mess. These are smaller leaves. See here the leaves? They kind of look like Darjeeling leaves a little bit. They're still kind of small, tightly wound, thin, coiled. Green tea is, as far as on the tea spectrum, it's a little weaker than most. It's the next step after white tea. It is, sorry, I'm dropping stuff on the floor and trying to clean it up. They very, very, very lightly oxidize it, and then they dry it and put it in a package. So they don't really do a whole lot to the tea. It also comes in matcha, or it's another form called matcha, and they grind up the leaves and make it into a very, very fine powder. I'll make a matcha video later. Green tea is very good beginner tea. It's it's got subtle differences, but it's also the different types. There are enough varieties that they all taste different. So you can kind of distinguish between the flavors. They also do a lot of flavor tea in green, like a rhubarb green or something like that. And they're usually more or less conventional. You might have cranberry or blueberry or strawberry or apricot for black, and you'll have like rhubarb or something for green. So it's a little different. It's very good. Green tea is a very good tea to start off with. I would brew it anywhere from 170 to 180 degrees Fahrenheit, anywhere from 2.5 to 3.5 minutes. 3 is kind of the happy medium. If you like your tea weak, 2.5. If you like it strong, 3.5. But you do have to be careful when brewing green tea because if you do leave the water in there too long, you will cook the leaves. Same thing with white tea. And now we will move on to oolong. And oolong tea is literally anything between a green tea and a black tea. It's a huge spectrum. They have oolongs that are very green, that are have more characteristics of a green tea. They have dark oolongs that are more like a black tea. So first, I will show you Yongchun Foshu, which is Mandarin for Buddha fist. And this is an oolong, Chinese oolong. As you see, it's very green. Like the leaves are pretty much a jade color. I'll give it time to adjust. I mean, the leaves are very, very green. Has a sweet floral smell or aroma and taste. You would brew it at around 180 Fahrenheit. It's characteristically a green tea, but because it's oxidized to a certain percent, it's over 30% oxidized, that means they have to classify it as a green oolong, or as an oolong. Next is Ali Shan. This is another kind of green oolong. I got 2 green oolongs on accident. Might as well show you. See, same thing. It's not quite as green. It's kind of more. It's between green oolong and kind of medium, very tightly wound. One thing I noticed is that a lot of oolongs that are kind of green tend to have very tightly rolled leaves. That's not always true, but if you don't know and someone holds a gun to your head and shows you a tea leaf and it's tightly wound, they're like, what kind of oolong is this? I would say green unless it's brown looking. So I don't know why I said that. Next is, where did it go? Oh, this is pu-erh Ensemble. I really like pu-erh rock tea. It's also an oolong, and it's a darker oolong. Let's get it out here. As evidenced by the color, very long leaves. This isn't as long, but they're kind of longer leaves, thinner, tightly rolled. It smells darker, and dark oolongs are like that. Usually they're sort of roasted, and as long as they're not, I think it's 80% firm or oxidized, then they are an oolong, dark oolong. So that's dark oolongs for you. Let's see, real quick, I'm going to go ahead and show you pu'er tea. I'm not going to take it out of the bag because it's got a lot of dust in it. But this is technically a dark tea. It comes in a cake form. I'm trying to shine the light on it so you can see the color of the leaves. There you go. Pu'er, it's technically a black tea, but it's very different. They've often got complex flavors and aromas, kind of woodsy, earthy tea. Very strong. If you like coffee, especially if you like fresh roasted coffee and you drink it black, go ahead and go with the pu'er. You can buy a pretty decent pu'er cake for under $10. Check pu-erhshop.com. I'll put a link down in the description, but they have some good cakes that are really, really affordable. You can get like 3/4 of a pound for $9. Great deal. So pu'er is good. If you think you're more of a white kind of green tea person, maybe you don't like coffee or anything super strong, I would stay away from the pu'er, at least for now. Mainly because it's not. It takes some getting used to. It's an acquired taste, unless you're like me and you like coffee a lot. Let's see, next, rooibos. I don't want to take it out because it's tiny, but as you can see, it looks like little ants. Yeah, very tiny leaves. It's not technically tea because it does not come from the tea plant Camellia sinensis. It actually comes from the southern Cape of South Africa. Just little plants, and it's called African red tea because it makes red liquor. A red liquor, not red liquor. That would be bad. And illegal for me. But it's kind of got a woodsy taste, but not so much like pu'er. It's not really strong. It's more mellow. It's very good. It's got many health benefits, and it's also caffeine free. So rooibos is also, it's a good beginner tea. It also it's very forgiving. You brew it at 212 for anywhere from like 3 to 7 minutes. You can even brew it longer, and unlike a dark or like a black tea, if you steep it for 30 seconds too long, it's not going to be super bitter and really astringent, almost undrinkable. Just as long as you don't leave it in the pot for like 10 minutes or so. It might even be fine then. It's a really good beginner tea. It comes in a lot of flavors, so if you're kind of looking for more of a fruity tea, if you want to get a flavored tea at all, I would recommend wow, my voice just cracked. I would recommend rooibos, mainly because it's forgiving. It doesn't have a very its flavor doesn't stand out so much, so that its natural flavor of the tea itself won't dominate the flavor added. It's very good. They add to each other very well, and rooibos is cheap. This entire tin cost me like $8, and it's 4 ounces or 50 cups of tea. So that's very good price wise. Overall, that's just kind of a basic overview of the types of tea and their characteristics. Yeah, they're really, go out and explore. Look on certain websites. I'll put some websites in the description that are good for beginners. Have some good beginner quality, not quality, but beginner teas. Just go out there and look. Read the characteristics of the tea that the company provides. If that sounds something like that you'd like, go ahead and try it. Tea is a very personal thing. I can't come up here and tell you what kind of tea to get. You can take my advice, but when it comes down to it, tea's about you, the person. So anyway, this has been another episode of NathanTeaV. Hope you enjoyed it and found it useful or helpful. If you needed help, if not, I hope you found